It is the Final Word Daily, the West Indies Australia Daily, as distinct from the other kinds of daily. Jeff Lemon and Bharat Sundaresan in Grenada. The show is brought to you by Maurice Blackburn, the #1 plaintiff law firm in the land of Australia. And if they wanted to be #1 in Grenada, they probably could be as well.
That is correct.
And why not? Why wouldn't you want to be? What a beautiful place. There is a thrill, there is an excitement there about being somewhere that we've never been before, seeing a test played somewhere that none of us have ever seen a test played before. There have been a handful here, I think 4 all up over the journey. West Indies have had good results here. They had a smashing in Bridgetown only a few days ago. And it's time for them to try to pull themselves together and try to do something else. Bharat?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've gone from the island time in Barbados, which is very different to the island time here in Grenada, because it feels it's even more arbitrary here.
Right.
But here, I think they take a lot more pride in just being relaxed. Wherever you go, the one thing you hear is, "We're chill here, boy. We're all about the vibes." And that's what it feels like, whether you're by the beach like
That's what
you
people
were.
are saying to you? They're just leaning out of their car windows and
Yeah,
yelling at you.
but that's how
chill they
slowly
are.
the cars are going. Have you seen the traffic here?
You can actually have a conversation
You can
with someone as they
actually
drive
have a
past, yeah.
conversation while they are driving or trying to drive. But yeah, you've seen that around the beach. I've spent a lot of time walking around St. George's, the capital. It's up and down, so it's great for your glutes and your calves and everything else down there.
Yep.
But it's just one of those islands where I can't believe it's taken so long for me to come. But now that I've come here, I think it's rapidly in just 2 days gone to the top 2 best islands in the Caribbean.
It's already right up there for cricket grounds for me.
Yeah.
I don't know where it would sit in the rankings, but it's beautiful. They've done so much work sprucing this up, and there is this greater sense of excitement around the Test match. Roston Chase was talking about it. Pat Cummins was talking about it in the press conferences today. That when they have a Test match here, they're more likely to get support, to get local enthusiasm, because it's a small population, and because they don't get a lot of international cricket, people are more likely to come down for a Test match than they might in some of the bigger centres where they have CPL games all the time, they have T20 internationals all the time. This is something else. There is a different level of expectation.
Yeah, and also the fact that we speak about there having been just 4 test matches since the first one in 2002. There's been no first-class cricket here either since 2022 or 2022, the last test match where West Indies beat England pretty easily. So kind of tells you, yes, there's very small sample size in terms of what the pitch will play like or what the conditions will be like. But even speaking to a few of the local Grenadians here, they're like, we don't get to see this. It's almost like when Test cricket goes to the smaller centres in India, or maybe when Test cricket is Darwin, you know, or when it hasn't gone there in a long time, but Cairns or one of those. So I think the local people, because they don't get to see their stars, unlike say in Barbados, where on a bi-weekly basis they see their Bajan stars play in front of them, this massive CPL team that they have there, so they get to see everything else. And like Shea Hope said, in Barbados, T20 cricket, everybody comes. You have to play really good Test cricket to bring them in as the West Indian team. Here it feels like they'll hopefully just come in their numbers just to support this West Indies team, or that's what we've been told.
I hope so. We've got the Junior Murray Royal Lewis stand behind us there. Junior Murray, the most famous product of this part of the world, where everybody's named Junior, apparently.
Yeah, that's correct.
Probably like 40% of the men that I've met so far have been named Junior, and one has been named Booger, which is an interesting diversion.
Everybody is the junior of someone, right?
Right.
You're a junior, I'm a junior.
Sure.
But and Royal Lewis obviously is selector, or now manager. He used to be selector. I think he's team manager. I saw him floating around earlier in front of the Royal Lewis stand.
It's good that they're sharing a stand. They've got the Devon Smith Pavilion, but then a bunch of other stands with no name. So they're leaving the opportunity open for the next Grenadian star cricketer to have their name on here.
And there's one who's missed out for now, is the Spice Man, the man from the Spice Island, Andre Fletcher, who I think earned that Spice Man gimmick in Australia while playing in the BBL. So I'm surprised that his name hasn't gone up there. I asked a couple of the curators, and they were kind of dismissive of the fact that his name would go up there. I don't know whether it's because he didn't play Test cricket for the West Indies like Devon Smith, Royal Lewis and Junior Murray did. It also kind of tells you maybe this is a Test-loving island as compared to some of the others.
Okay. And normally we'll do the Hall of Fame in the second half. Maybe we'll talk about the teams in the second half. I'll just quickly say before the break that Maurice Blackburn sponsored this show. They're the best plaintiff law firm in Australia. That's why they're #1. They've got offices everywhere. If you need assistance, they are there to help out people who need that help and who don't necessarily have access to the same resources as everybody else. Find them. We'll be back in a second. It's still the final word. We're watching nets, centre wicket nets. Travis Head's out there batting with. Is
Just
that
like
Labuschagne
last week.
in the other net?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. Good to see we can still spot them from a distance. What have you heard? What do you make of it? Talking Australian selection, it'll be pretty straightforward. Smith will come back in,
Yep.
Inglis will drop out. That is it. That'll be the only change. But in terms of how it might play here, what they're anticipating, Pat Cummins did his usual thing where he goes, I don't know how pitches work. I'm not sure what to make of them when I look at them, and everybody's guessing as to what will happen here, which is kind of true.
Yeah, here especially you're guessing, because last week it looked brown or beige colored, it looked dirty.
Beige.
The pitch. Beijing, no, I like that. But there was
Wrong
a
countries,
touchy, wrong country. But over there it did. I mean, it worked.
It was.
It was thatchy grass, and once the sun burned down on it,
Margaret Thatchy.
yes, because and I think it's important to know that the surfaces in the Caribbean generally don't get watered the same way you see them getting watered in Australia, and also another thing, you'll see a fire hydrant right there in the middle of the ground,
Yep,
and
true.
I
Just over here.
checked with someone. Apparently, despite being an island, they do have water shortages often, so drinking water anyway. So there are fire hydrants wherever you go in Grenada, and also this bushfire region. So another reason for them to have a fire hydrant. I've never seen one as prominently.
Never seen one on the ground, sticking out of the grass.
Right in front of the dressing room.
You cannot park next to it. That's the number one rule. But it's very green. The grass here is very green.
It is.
So it's interesting that the wicket in the centre is dry anyway. And then the West Indies situation, they're avoiding questions about the accusations that have been made against one of their players, and are just running a line that no information has been brought to West Indies cricket, so we can't do anything about it, which means they're probably going in with the same team, which means there'll be questions around that. The only thing they're talking about is whether they'll get an extra seamer in and get rid of the spinner, because Jermel Warrican, the man the authorities came to blame, bowled about 6 overs and didn't do anything with the bat.
No, not really, even as night watcher. So that's the only, like you said, the press conference, Roston Chase's press conference began with a senior member of the Cricket West Indies board, the head of media and communication, reading out that statement that you mentioned, and you did ask him if Cricket West Indies were going to investigate it, and he repeated the statement, and he said we're not, because at this point we've not received anything official. So that's where it stands, and that's where I guess we'll have to.
It's a strange position to take, that you have to receive information in order to investigate it. So it's not a tenable position, but that's the one they're claiming at the moment as they try to get through this test match without being asked about it.
Yeah, Darren Sammy was asked about it yesterday, and he spoke about how he believes in justice, and that's what matters to him the most. I bumped into him earlier today, and he was asking me where I was yesterday, because he said, like, your Australian colleagues had a lot of questions for me, and I said obviously they would have, but he did speak a lot about justice, and once again saying there are allegations in the media, but they haven't received anything official, so they haven't addressed it at all. So, and once that kind of statement gets read out at the start of a press conference, the way it was today, you basically can't ask a question about it.
You know, that's what you'll get every subsequent question. Will get the same answer. So that's where we're at the moment with the teams and with those stories. And we'll have a test match starting tomorrow. We'll be here from Grenada, you, me, and we'll also have the test match going on between England and India. We've got coverage from that. So double dailies going on over the next few days as everything lines up beautifully for lovers of test cricket. Here we are in the sun in Grenada. It's been the final word. Thanks to Maurice Blackburn for sponsoring the show. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Patreon.com/thefinalword if you want to help us continue covering double test matches. That is hard to do. A few people have been joining up recently. Good to see some new subscribers. Jump on there, chuck us a couple of bucks, keep us going. Jeff Lemon, Burrett Cinderayson, Final Word Daily. We'll see you.